Welcome, everyone. I'm so glad that you guys were all able to make it. Some of you guys have come as far as Silver Spring and Dayton and Gardnerville and all that. So I appreciate you guys. Go ahead and grab a few of the handouts and take a seat anywhere you like. So we've been running this investor group for, it's going on 9 years now this year. And so we've been running this longer than I've been a real estate agent. And so we like to think that we have a very friendly atmosphere here. A lot of people have done deals together. Too tall, John.
People out there didn't want to see the back of my head.
So John is actually on the fly. I asked him this morning, I said, would you speak for our group? I didn't realize I didn't have a speaker today. And he's like, of course. And he's always a plethora of knowledge. I'm super excited about what he's going to talk about. I'm Ginger Marcus. I've been a real estate investor for decades and started this group before I actually got my real estate license. So I think of myself as an investor before I'm a real estate agent. Got my real estate license because I had a really bad situation with a real estate agent. And I had a couple of people tell me I should get my license. And by the time the third person said it, I had had this situation or a couple of situations with just realtors that weren't investor friendly. And I'm like, I think there's a need here. And so I got my license, not thinking I was gonna, I had a vision of what I was gonna be doing with my license, and I got into everything. And I love helping people buy real estate, invest in real estate, sell their homes. Like, it's just been super rewarding. So if anyone here is looking at getting their real estate license, I'm happy to have that chat with you as far as what that journey looks like. You don't have to have your real estate license to be an investor.
And I'm looking for a real estate agent. Join us.
Looking for real estate, he's expanding. And Robert's going to be our speaker in July. Robert is a property manager. And so he's also investor friendly and investor himself. He's been coming to this group almost as long as we've had it.
Yes.
I think it was our second meeting you called me. Someone had introduced you to me. And I asked you on the fly. So he got the same, except I hadn't even met him yet. And he's like, oh, I was told that I should, introduce myself to you, that you have an investors group. And I'm like, yeah, it's tonight. Do you want to speak? And he was like, okay. And I know, I get a presentation. We usually have speakers lined up. And this month we didn't have someone. So I'm super excited about what you're going to talk about. You want to talk about the market?
No, I thought you were.
Well, I was going to, yeah. Definitely. So what we do is we kind of go through, there's a market report on the table, and I think that's just Reno that we have in there. Is that right? Sparks on the back.
Yeah, Reno.
So First American Title has, and I can send it to you guys, but you can change it by zip code, you can change it by city. And I find it really helpful because it's more of a day-to-day. This Reno Sparks, Sierra Nevada Realtors, they just changed their person. Anyway, they formulate these reports, and it's everything's kind of checked to make sure all the numbers are correct. And it's basically homes that are on the market in the MLS, but that's all we have to track, right? You can't really track off properties. So this is everything that's been on the MLS, and it closes out at the end of the month. These reports are available to all of you guys. So you can actually go into the website what's the new website? snr.realtor.
I was Google Sierra Nevada Realtors.
Okay.
Yeah, the website is literally about a month new, so we're working on getting it, solid.
There's so much additional information in there now than there was before. And now we have the ability to stretch out to Carson, Gardnerville, Minden, which we could still pull that information, but it wasn't as easy. They've given us the analytics, which is amazing. So right now, what I have pulled right now is just Reno Sparks, just kind of to stay the same. But you can actually change this toggle and subtract or add whichever area you want. So for right now, we're down on median sale price. That has been progressively going down. Last year, I think we got up to 620. And I still believe, and I don't know, some of you guys can kind of add to this, I still believe that we're selling less multi-million-dollar homes. The prices are coming down, but I don't feel like they've come down 100 grand. I think that part of that, maybe you can even speak to this, I don't know, but part of that is we're selling less of the higher end homes during this period of time. And I've been kind of looking at that to see, and I feel like that to be true. And you guys are all welcome to dispute that. But so I just want to make sure that you guys understand this. This is median price. So they go by all of the homes that are sold. And maybe you can explain that better, but it's the middle point.
Yeah, it's 50% above and 50% below.
Below.
So it's different than an average. Average, you
Right.
throw them all in a pool and whatever that works out. So if you have, you know, several multi-million-dollar homes above, you're going to move
Do that.
that median point up quite a bit.
Yes.
Can you sort that price by different structures? So like a 3-2
Yes.
versus 2-1?
No. So they have it by single family, condo, and manufactured home.
But you can do it by zip code.
You can do it by zip code. Yeah, but you can't change it to like those variables. And I don't remember if the First American Title one can go by that. Anthony, do you remember? First American Title one? I think we can, I think you can get a little bit more narrow with the First American Title one. And it's, yeah, it's a lot more, you can narrow things down. Dates to contract, that's how long it's taking to get into contract. Last year around this time, it was more like 2 days, 3 days. I don't know if I'm exaggerating that, but if I am, it's not by much. We're seeing multiple offers again. So in certain price points, and certain condition properties at certain price points, we're seeing massive amounts of properties. Yes. So every month, so this is last month, and then it closes out at the end of the month. So you're only going to see last month's data, but it's accurate. They're checking it to make sure it's actually accurate. So things that I'm seeing are multiple offers, like I mentioned. I'm seeing a lot of probates. So what's happening? We have a lot of our baby boomers. They're starting to pass away, and unfortunately, a lot of them aren't set up with a living trust. If anyone doesn't have a living trust, I know a great trust attorney that you can actually get something set up for that. I would hate for your families to, I've had a living trust since I was 19. Is that kind of stupid? But I was working at Bank of America and I had all these people coming in that were going into probate. They had to come in and, you know, situate the bank accounts and stuff. And they're like, set up a living trust. They're telling me, and I'm like, oh, I gotta set up a living trust. Okay. Because they were saying it's just so difficult on family members to go through probate. It's a little bit more turnkey now, but if you don't have the right players involved, it's really tough. If you don't have the right lawyers and all that kind of stuff involved in probate. But we are seeing a lot more probate, and what happens with not all, but some, they'll go to court and then there's an overbid. So someone acquires the property, not acquires it, they get it in contract. That contract goes to, you know, full fruition, and then it goes to court and the court approves it. But then there's an overbid. So that property can be overbid from the current person that has it in a contract. It could be snatched away from them in the overbid. So it's like an auction thing going on at court. And I've had quite a few of those types of situations. I've sold, I help people sell and help people buy probate properties, and I've never had someone show up to court. And lately, it's a lot of investors are gobbling up properties that way. So it is just a thing, just saying. I'm not encouraging anyone to do it. I'm just saying that it is a thing. What else? Active inventory is up. So when the inventory is up, what typically happens with the demand?
Yeah.
Going down, right? Prices typically, what normally happens with prices? They go down, right? So this is very indicative of, and it's been a gradual process. So we've seen this over at least a 3-month time period, which you need at least 3 months to show some sort of trend. And that trend has been going down. So the prices have been kind of coming to a, you know, to a lower price point. What that's gonna bring to us next year, I have no idea. I'm like, crystal ball, I left it at home. John,
That's me.
how long have we known each other? I think as long as I've been running this group.
You're that old.
But we met when, I think in one of these rooms at, our investor group, didn't we?
Before your investor group with,
Yes, and I knew your son too. So John's son is a lender still, right?
Yep.
So John's son is a lender. John has spoken for us before on multiple topics, including APODs, creative ways to exchange properties. And so super excited. I don't know what topic you're going to talk on today. So John's a realtor. He's an investor. Come on up. He's a realtor. He's an investor. Most of your investments have been commercial and
lately they've been commercial.
now, okay. So I'm gonna let you take over the room and finish introducing yourself. All right, thank you.
I'm, gonna get rid of this.
Oh, yeah.
Sure.
So John, how long ago was that you had to have a book for the MLS?
The 80s.
Was it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think I got my first license here in 82 or something. So that was quite a while, and then it was really clumsy because it wasn't, you had to, like DOS, you had to type it in.
Yeah.
Figure out what you wanted. But, and I will give it to you, except it's escaped me here.
Oh, his computer. The what?
Yeah, just plug it back in.
Yes.
Look at his screen though first.
So while you're pulling that up, let me just kind of bring up some.
TVM.
Oh,
is,
dear.
uh,
Again, like crazy.
TVM.
I don't know why it's disconnected.
Computer out there.
Oh, TVM.
Value. So, and what
I don't know why.
Because he keeps, it's just like,
this
why don't you move that up?
is basically, it's a way to calculate not only your mortgages,
Yeah, his leg is hitting me.
values on
Yeah.
notes and that type of thing.
It's back on. Anthony, it's on. Anthony, it's good.
So again, paper's the way to make deals go together. Paper I'm talking about is real estate notes, mortgages, and not necessarily on real estate, any kind of note. If you're collecting on payments on a settlement for some reason, just anything that's got a cash flow to it, or regular payments, or even irregular payments. So this is a compilation. This is like 4 different courses that I've taken, kind of pick pieces out of. But people talk about yields and discounts when they're buying notes. So does anybody know what the difference is? You're discounting the yield. If I'm buying a note at a discount, I'm buying it at 10% off, 20% off. So I take the value of the note and I discount it. If I'm looking for a yield, I discount that note to give me a yield of a certain percentage. So if I'm buying a 5% note and my investment rate is 12%, then I need to buy that at enough of a discount that those payments will give me a 12%. How do you calculate that? Actually, it's with this program. Actually, I was gonna go back in history again. Any questions or where I don't make any sense, which is probably often, please put your hand up.
So what is a note?
A note is, most of the notes that I'm talking about is a promise to pay. And it can be either secured or unsecured. A secured note is mostly in real estate. So like if you own a home and you have a mortgage on it. You've got it's a note, basically. So it's a piece of paper, it's a note that says, I promise to pay X dollars a month for the rest of my life. And then we have, so that's basically the note. The real estate note is secured by a deed of trust, which is which is recorded in the recorder's office and is against that piece of property. So if you default on the note, they can come and take that property if you don't pay. So that's a secured note. There's unsecured notes. I could make you a loan for $100,000. If I had enough security, or if I knew Jim well enough, or whatever, or $20, doesn't matter. We sign a piece of paper that says it's an IOU. That would be an unsecured, meaning there is no security behind it, other than his ability to pay and promise to pay. Okay. When I first started out, this is an HP 12C. Probably the first handheld mortgage calculation.
Hey, I have one of those.
Pardon me?
I have one of those and I know how to use it.
Used them for years. HP 11B, 10B, HP 10B2. This was less expensive. By the way, when one came out in the 80s, yeah, they were $150, $1980. This is $30-something of $2,023. So, and it calculates like you're taught in school 3 times 3 years. So this program I like much better than either one of these. The problem with these is you can't see all the numbers that we've got in the registry. This one, you can see all the numbers that we've got in the registry. So present value, I'll go down and do the terms here. Present value is what's the value of, again, we're talking notes with today's value. So I went out and borrowed $100,000. Okay, and don't know what payments are. Don't know what the future value is. The annual rate was 6.5%.
You need to put a present value of 100,000 to 10,000.
Do I? Thank you. Somebody's paying
Did you
attention.
account for inflation and taxes? In that
Pardon me?
program? You account for inflation and taxes.
No, this is just what I borrowed. It doesn't. There's no inflation or anything. There's another part of this program. If you look down the left-hand side, there's all kinds of stuff that we do. This is just what we use for real estate or notes. So 6.5%. And we're going to do it for 30 years, so 360 months, and then I'm going to ask it for its payment. So 632.07 is my payment. So that's pretty simple. Okay, now I'm going to buy this note today. It's a brand new note, and I want to buy it, but I want a 10% yield. I won't invest my money unless I can get a 10%. How much do I pay for the snow? Okay. Change this to 10%. And then I can go to the, so payments are the same. Payments aren't going to change, the value isn't going to change. Value. 72,042 is what I'm going to afford to pay for that note if I want a 10% return. Okay, so it's you can play with all kinds of numbers with this. Probably I'll stick with this one, stay on track a little bit. One of the best programs I ever went to was called this paper on steroids through the MCE. He made a couple of good points here. Said the biggest reason for failure is not lack of knowledge or ability. It's in action. So people who have all the knowledge. This is a site I went to a course in San Francisco, commercial course. Paid $1,500 or something for this commercial course. When we were milling around, talked to a guy, he's an attorney, and he's a tenant landlord attorney in San Francisco. He had invested $80,000 in different programs. Guess how many properties he owned? You got it. And all the knowledge he could do, go and foreclose and people out himself. Afraid to pull the trigger. So this is the truest of the transaction. I thought this was good. Money follows deals. Deals don't follow money. So if you find a good transaction, a good deal, you can find money. I just invested 50 grand in a transaction. One of them they bought at a what were we just talking about?
Auctions? Oh, the probate.
Probate sale. They tied it up with 525 and it got bid up to 565. They have the money to continue to go forward with it. So, but it's a good opportunity. So relationships make deals. You're comfortable dealing with people that you know, that you've met, or that you can refer to. That's why this arena is a great place for making deals, for finding contacts. The exchange group that I'm involved in, we know each other long enough. If you know, I'll do something. If he says he'll do it, he'll do it. This is related to exchanging, but all inventory is your inventory. In other words, the exchange in the exchange group, I go up and present a property, and you've got something else, and you've got something else, but there isn't anything in that room that I can't use in my transaction if I can satisfy your needs for your transaction. Free and clear has power. If you own the property free and clear, you have all kinds of opportunities to do something. What if you needed $20,000? I've got a free and clear property that says $100,000, and I need $20,000 to do my next transaction with $20,000 down in the loan or whatever. How can I do that? I don't have any cash. We didn't do it. Against your property. I promise to pay Robert. And then draw $20,000 from him. And to do the interest rate returns. Cash in the next year. So free and clear up even just a lot of equity. You can do the same thing. Fully leveraged property. 100% borrowing. What do you think the opportunity is there? Do you think he's motivated? He's 100% leverage in that property. He's probably upside down in the property as far as making payments. That's a motivated seller. What will he do? What can he add? Adding cash or wing out a taker for any deal. If somebody wants that deal, if I have enough, put enough cash on the deal. They may buy my property just to get the cash. So in other words, you need $100,000 for your deal. I got a $20,000 piece of property that I can add $100,000 to it. You take that $20,000 piece that you don't even want to get the $100,000 to get the change. This is all has to do with the paper. Path to cash. What we call a path to cash is something that will go to cash. I've got a single family home, it's 3bedroom, 2 bathroom, whatever the hottest neighborhood in Reno is, and I want to trade it to you for something. Well, you look at it and say, well, I really want cash, but then you look at that and say, well, Ginger can sell that for me next week. The market's that high. So that's a path to cash for the next. You can take that property and turn it to capital. And then knowledge without action is money. Yeah. I know this is a little disjointed. I didn't do this. You don't have a PowerPoint, haven't done this before. So please ask questions. What to know about paper?
Well, what would I say you? That note, so you can.
Why? Real simple. You need cash. You need cash today to do something better. If you find the right deal today, let people get hung up on interest rates. A lot of times when you have an opportunity, I borrow hard money at 12–15%. You get into an opportunity, and the total 15% is only going to last you a while. I don't find I'm making that a 30-year mortgage. So I get the opportunity to buy the property, or whatever I'm trying to invest in, and I'm going to pay you back real quick because it's high interest rate, but I'm going to make way more on the deal than the money that I'm paying you. The interest rate is almost insignificant because it's such a short period. Good question. Any others?
John, how do you close the note? You go through escrow or?
Yeah. Just take it to escrow. It's recorded against, assuming it's a real estate transaction, it's recorded against the, you do a note of deed of trust. You take it through the First American Title or whoever. And then you have a recorded lien against that, whatever that property is. So it's, does the paper have to have paint? Does the note have to have paint?
No.
No, it doesn't. You have what they call a demand, but you got to be real to it. A demand note is, I lend you a certain amount of money, and I can demand it at any point in time, or whatever our note agreement was. I can't demand it until it's been a year. It may accumulate interest in the year. And I have to give you 60 days notice before, whatever you will do. That's all the demand. Does interest have to start at the close of escrow? If you want to have payments, it doesn't have to start at the close of escrow. You could, whenever, that's what's so great about notes is you're flexible. You could do like silly, you can make them whatever you want. Can the rate change? Absolutely. I renegotiated notes. When COVID hit, we had a note on our commercial building. Had couple 3 tenants in it. And we called the tenants and said, hey, for the next 3 months, don't worry about making payments to us as lease payment. We don't, no one knew what was going to go on at that time. And we all at the same time called the lender. So again, you can't call the bank usually, but it's private lender. And said, hey, here's what we're doing for our tenants. And we cut our payments in half for the next 3 months and then tap it all at down. So even though it's already written that you can't do that with a private lender, you can do that. It's one of the advantages of lending, private lending. Can the rate change? Sure. I cut one of my notes in half for the COVID interest rate. So I called the lender and said, can't afford to do this. I said, yeah, I understand. I said, I can do that. Cut the interest rate. Yeah, okay. So we'll make it up in the next year. Can it be stolen?
How do you, what's your comments about guaranteeing the position of your note? Whether you're like second position or third position or so, because obviously someone has money in first, they'll get paid first if it's default. So how are you going about guaranteeing your note?
Well, actually, right here. Whatever position you're in other words, if somebody defaults on that note and I'm in second position,
Right,
I have the right to bring that first payment current, and I can foreclose from second position.
is that as far as you're going to go? You wouldn't be like in third or fourth position, would you?
Depends how much equity is involved. In other words, if I've got $1 million property and there's $100,000 first or $50,000 second, would I be comfortable being a $100,000 third? Yeah. First off, I can figure out a way to handle 150 if I have to. And for $100,000, so the total is $250,000 on $1 million property. I'm okay with that. So it depends on what's in front of it. And what the property is doing too. Are the tenants paying the rent? You make a lease payment, or is it vacant? So each property is, each situation is different. Did I answer your question?
Well, I guess I was looking for, how are you going to guarantee if you're anything less than the second position? Because then it gets, right now, the way the market's going, if you're in a third, fourth, fifth position on a property, it could be a, 30 unit apartment complex. All of a sudden, everybody starts defaulting because they're making an excuse like in the Bay Area, we're still under COVID. We're not paying. There's people right now, landlords I'm owed $250,000 in back rent. How am I going to get this back if you guys still say there's COVID? You understand what I'm saying, right?
No, I understand exactly.
No.
And that's, how could I guarantee I just look at, all I can do is look at the equity in the property. And then if I was a lender with you, I would say, I understand where you are. You know, you can't make payments, that was part of the problem in COVID. I had the same thing. If they're not paying me, they said, it's okay for you not to pay your landlord. They didn't say it's okay for the landlord not to pay the lender. They kind of stopped it right at the landlord, which is problem. So, if you've got a commercial loan on it, it's, you know, you can certainly call your lender. It's much easier if you have, you know, a personal loan or a lender carry back or something. Because they're a lot more flexible. And if there isn't any, if there's a lot of equity in the property, some people would love to take that back, but most people look at it, it's a long-term relationship. So, I just look at the equity. So second, third, you know, whether have four, what has third, but they will always go secured by the equity in the property. And I always have a way to either make payments on the first and second or buy them out.
So like first and second, are those like, is that certain days and payment process on the?
That, I'm sorry. Loans, if you buy property from me and I write you a note or you get a note from a lender, that would be a first position note. Means you're first in line to get paid. Okay. If Tim then loans you another $10,000 to fix the place up, now Jim is in second position. Okay, but he's behind that first. And then if I loan you money after that, then I will be in third position. So it has to do with where you are in the recording order, actually.
So it's like the order.
Not
Not
the
necessarily
order,
order.
not the order you're paying, but where you are. If there's a default. Okay, anybody else?
Everybody else. Yeah, somebody else.
In a balloon payment, everyone know what a balloon payment is? Balloon payment is when, actually, I'll show you how it goes. Is when you take the loan out and you say, okay, I'll do a 30-year amortization, but I'm not going to wait 30 years for the money. I want to get paid in 5 years. Many of the loans today are short-term loans. I've got one that I just took out. It's 30-year amortization, but due in 5 years. Actually, it's just. Yeah. Okay, so we'll take the same note, and this is due in not 30 years, but it's going to be due in 5 years. So 60 months. Yeah, if I put 60 months in here. Future value. So we'll know what this thing's going to be worth in the future. That's what I like about this is rather than having to try and remember what's in the calculator, because it only shows one screen, it shows everything. So in 5 years on this $72,000 note, I'm going to owe $69,587 is going to be my balloon. So the payments are $832 for 60 months. And I owe, when that thing comes due, I owe $9,000 still. I don't know how well I'm doing here. if I'm just running past everybody or I'm not making any sense.
Why did you take a 5 year? Why did you get a loan for 5 years? Or 30 years and 5 years?
I did it because the interest rate at the time was 7 point something, and I could go 5 year loan, 5 and change. So I'm not gonna keep the property most likely for 30 years. I'm thinking that the interest rates will probably come down over 5 years. Could be wrong. So for 2 reasons, interest rate and payments, when you make a payment from the property. So that would be one of the reasons. The banks right now don't want to go out for the year. That's why they have an inversion between the 1 year and the 5 year. I don't know if it's still there, but you're actually getting better interest rate if you for a 1 year T-bill than you would in a 5 year or 10 year. Because you're concerned about the interest rate going up.
Oh, no.
You look like you got a question on it.
No, I was gonna say, interest rate inverse curve. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Anybody else?
On this calculator, what's the difference between the modes at the top there, end versus beginning?
It's where you calculate the interest to or the payment to. So you're doing this at the end of the month,
Oh,
which is normal for what we do. For some people, very few people, the option is to start it from the beginning of the month. So, and that's the default on it is. And then compounding, you can do it monthly, quarterly, yearly, daily, whatever you want. This is, I really like this program. It makes a lot of sense to me.
So John, I asked you for as an investor, right? So what, I'm trying to figure out how. So you have people who have cash, right? The players here are the people who have cash, they want to make interest on that, higher than what the banks. Make. Then people have cash, and then you have people who have equity, when they have funds, right? And they want to borrow money against the profit, right?
That's
Those are the players.
so, and then there's players in the room here that are have opportunities they'd like to take advantage of. Maybe you could either.
You're back, you're back.
Yeah, maybe instead of just lending money, maybe you could be a partner, or participate somehow in that property, which may work out better for you. Or if you just want to be just not worry about it, put a lien against the property and invest that way. So there's all kinds of ways to play with capital. And this just is a tool that you can play with to show you how to do that or what your return is. So what if I can buy this property and instead of 10%, I can buy it 5%. Changes my payment. $300 a month. So if I'm trying to buy a property, this is a great tool to use. I can make any property cash, almost any property cash flow if I can get my terms. So your price, my terms. I will pay you $1 million for that cut if I can have my terms. My terms would be 3 cents a year until paid. I'm just, it's a crazy example, but that's what you could do with paper, you can make any deal work. You have the flexibility. When you're either buying property and having seller financing, or you're getting money from somebody, you can make that property work. With flexibility of paper.
Are there templates or are there, when you say paper, is that you have to look for an attorney or?
That's a general term. Paper's a general term for notes. Some way to secure cash. So it's a promise to pay. So paper is a promise to pay, whether it's real estate or whether it's a personal note or whether it's a car loan. All those are paper. Most of what we talk about in real estate is not real estate.
Yeah, so then, and you said there's secured and unsecured, right?
Right.
So,
So you have something back in the upper side of the wall. Anyhow, so if you're making a loan on a car, you've got title to it. If you're making a loan on a piece of real estate, I have a lien recorded against you, piece of real estate. If anything that secures that loan other than a good loan, it's a secured loan. And it's better than security, I can get you, put your $300,000 diamond ring as security for $100,000 loan. Lock that up at a jewelry shop or something, so you have to pay for it. That's a security loan. But anything that has security to it. Anybody else? So this you can play with. Is a great way to make deals. Go find a deal that you like, and then play with the interest. What can I do? They want 50% down, 30% down, whatever. If you go to a bank, that's it. You're talking to the owner. Whether they carry that paper. I'll give you your price. You know, $50,000 over the money. And you know it. But I would, one of my mentors once said, people would rather get the price in jelly bean than take a discount. People get stuck on the price. So if you're going after a transaction and you arguing over price, you're just doing this. So here's something else. I'll give you. I give up. Way more than the truth, but I will give it to you this way. And make it work for you. And make it work for you without arguing about price at all. Argue about terms. It needs fixing. I will put $20,000 in escrow, which is once to fix it. But I don't want to make payments for 4 months while I get it fixed. You're secure. Worst case, if I don't do the transaction, you either have $20,000 or you have a fixed up property. Either way, you do. So, and people really don't know. Rather than take a huge discount on a property that is really in bad shape, I'll give you your price on the property, but I won't do it for 6 months or something. And in the meantime, I'm going to fix it, and I'll give you somewhere between what it's worth today and what it's going to be worth after I fix it. We both make that. You get more, and I got time to fix it. I can go out and get a little finance myself out of it. It's now worth more than I'm paying. So, which I fixed.
What type of owners are like going after this type of deal as opposed to just working with the bank?
Owners in general are looking. But you as an investor. Need to talk to them about what they need. So the whole idea is first you kind of got to look at the property. Actually, there's a little thing called costs. Property. Owner, what's the owner trying? Do they need cash? Situation, what's the situation? What are they trying to find? And then solution, what can I fix that? So most owners, although there are some who are looking to finance their own properties, because they say, okay, we've got all cash today. What would I do? Well, which now you can get all the 4%. 6 months ago, you get 0.75, 0.65 or something in the bank. Or I can pay you whatever you negotiate, 5, 6, 7%. And you carry the fee. So which is better for you? We'll give you a good down payment. So if I give you a big enough down payment, worst case, you get a property back that you know, and you got that payment in your pocket. So it's not a bad deal at all. And especially for people older looking to retire, it's a property that you live in. So it's a good opportunity for growth. So, can the borrower receive payments? Yeah, that's the way we set it up. We do offsetting fees. So I've got a property that is a negative cash flow property that I'm buying from you. And I can't afford the negative of it. But you're carrying back a note with. I'm going to pay a note for $100,000 at whatever 5%. I want to lend you equal amount at a higher interest rate or a shorter term, so I got bigger payments and not payment that it will offset my negative on the property for a period of time. So with paper, you can offset all kinds of things.
Can I add something, John? So I think the importance of having, as an investor, having a realtor that knows these things is important.
Yes.
So if I'm working with my investors, they don't know this on the back end, but I'm always asking, will your client owner finance? And I'll tell you what, 95% of the real estate agents out there don't even know what that is. They just didn't check the box. They never asked their client. And sometimes it's a benefit to the seller to owner finance, to carry paper, in other words. So again, another importance that you have the right person representing you if you're looking for properties.
And also the realtor needs to ask the one who's selling, representing the seller.
Right.
Needs to ask, well, if you got all cash for it today, what would you do with it?
Mm-hmm.
How about we take a portion of that?
Just to add to that, another opportunity where a seller would consider a carryback would be if the property is not financeable. Let's say you have a commercial property that's 50% vacant, a buyer can't get a regular mortgage on it. Or if you have a residential property and it's in poor condition and it will pass various inspections, then the seller either carries back the paper or takes a low ball all cash offer.
If you
Right, and so they can carry paper and the buyer of the property, which is the current owner now, can actually renovate it, get it financeable, refinance it. Yeah,
Good point. Point, it's true, there's a lot of properties. that Yeah, a lot of them are not even that property. I have property that was single family home that was in industrial zone. Area that was, its grandfather and all that. Couldn't get anybody to touch it. That kind of lender was a portfolio. Meaning a portfolio lender is somebody who makes a loan and keeps the payment. So most banks, they make the loan. 5% loan that I had. Before I made my first payment, I had it went through two different. It got sold twice before I made my first payment. You're gonna pay Ginger. Oh no, you're gonna pay, Bill. You're gonna pay Ralph. Okay, well, tell me, no, Stu, where do I send it? But exactly the same thing. So the regular lenders, they sell to Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac back to the government. So we run out of time.
5 minutes, 5 minutes.
5 minutes?
Yeah.
I don't know what to say in 5 minutes. I'd rather. This is a 2-day course. So it's just consider doing finance. Consider offering. Offering seller care. And do it like carry paper. Which I can borrow too. Once I've got enough equity above me, so the seller's giving me another one. Have enough equity in the property, so I'm not worried about taking it back.
Just people you can find in school statement.
Or
Is there like a listing you need to find this or just?
There's several national groups actually.
Sorry, John. You get a nice bottle of wine for talking. Does anyone have any? Oops.
So, but if you have any questions, if something comes up, ask Ginger. Actually, the nice thing about groups like this, everybody's willing to help. The smarter I can make you, all of you, easier it is to do a transaction. So there's nothing, it's not like, I don't mean not residential realty, but they kind of, I got a duplex. I'm gonna double in, so I'm not gonna tell anybody. Because I can sell both ends of it. And with exchangers, I tell you everything. We sign basically disclosures, but we talk to our clients and say, is it okay if I disclose you're getting a divorce? You need to sell this in 60 days. Was that a bad thing? Probably not. Because if nobody knew it, kick it down the road. So the more we try and solve people problems. Real estate doesn't have problems. This building doesn't care whether the roof's leaking or the taxes are paid. It could give us. The guy who owns it, major concern. So real estate, if we can solve people problems, make the owner happens. Fix his problem.
Do you want to let everyone know when your exchange group is and what the stipulate? You have to be a licensed realtor,
Yeah,
correct?
We do an exchange meeting once a week, on Thursdays at 9:30 at Polo Banker.
On Rock.
South Rock. And have to be licensed to attend. And the reason for that is just what I talked about. If we talk about our clients and what they need, what they're trying to accomplish. As opposed to just what the poster up and say that. You've got this particular property, which I
Right.
it really doesn't tell you how motivated they are, what they'll do. We put out a matrix where we call it, we want to make ginger deals. We want to make this where we say, you know, Ginger has a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house, but she willing to sell. Ginger will use the equity in that property to move up. She'll sell a carriage or whatever. You know, she'll take cars that she down payment. So and that's the kind of stuff that we control. We really can't put it in, we're not allowed to put that in. We can't put anything in. And yet that's the reason that the people are certain. Can't tell what they're trying to accomplish. Other than showing them a pretty picture of the house or the commercial building. Don't have anything to play with.
So that was one of the open doors, getting my license, that I was able to go to your exchangers group. So that was I think a door that opened, you know, getting my license. So
Gives you a whole different perspective.
not trying to encourage anyone to get their license that wasn't thinking about it, but if you're thinking about it, there's, you know, there's opportunities.
How do you get that information if you're not a real estate agent?
You have a realtor that goes to the exchange group.
Okay.
Find a realtor who's doing that, who's, you know, can come to meetings like this. Because then you can talk to people. You know, it's hard to do from home. And this, I didn't have a PowerPoint presentation for this. Somebody got something out of it. And picked up one good idea. But this is where to make connections. And you never know. You tell people what you're trying to accomplish. But you never know.
Right.
You don't have anything today. But tomorrow. Got exactly what you were talking.
Right.
Or didn't somebody mention, you know, oh yeah, that was Jim, that was Phil. So this kind of forum is just a great place to meet people and, you know, to do transactions and, you know, if you have a problem, specific problem, you're gonna try and solve, call Ginger, call me. All the other people in the room, we have leaders in the room. We have the Fraser. You know, big shower emissions. It took us briefly.
Scared him off. Well, thank you, John. I appreciate you coming and yes, appreciate it.